Hey, it's Dee in Spirit. We're going to do our reflection on theology reading, and I've got this is our pumpkins for like Halloween fall, and then I did this. This is our little, it's a chicken and her eggs and a turkey. And the turkey. That's for Thanksgiving. Okay, let me see, I'll put this back. And then I even included also our Christmas tree. So this Advent, so it's the time of the coming, and so I wanted to also include that and just kind of like wrap that into the spirit of the reading today. So we're gonna do our first cards here. I'm gonna go ahead and roll these out. Probably speed this up so we don't have to wait so long for everything to come out, but on the video. We are going to roll out our culture cards. This is the Cecily deck that I'm using for Nicoletta Cecily. I believe it's an Italian artist, but they're pretty popular, pretty well known, and they're neat cards. All right. And I tried the last time we did this, tried to do just one card, but I had two come out for like every spot, so we don't know what. Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna go this time. If we get just one card, or if we'll see. Okay, we have one. What I say? What I say? That's funny. All right. Just, cannot get cooperation. No. All right, those are our two culture cards. We're going to leave that there. I believe I will also, this is the bottom of the Cecily deck. So for our culture cards, we have the one of disc, the two of cups, and the six of cups. And we'll look at those in detail in just a minute. Okay, for our faith tradition, I should have gotten these already. We're going to do the biblical tarot right here. Do some scripture cards as well. For that. Alright. So, okie dokie. We pretty much have to take that upside down. Alright. There we go. And then, oh my. Okay. The Five of Grains, the Bleeding Woman. Reach out and touch faith. It's that card. And then we've got the King of Candles reverse. We covered that, the King of Candles, in the upright, pretty well in one of the last readings that I did. The ones that I did for All Saints Day. So you might want to look at that if you want to know about the King of Candles card in the upright. Alright, well, let's just see the bottom of the deck. We have the Queen of Grains. Okay. Alright. Okay. For our position card, we use the Jesus Words cards. Let's just see. There we go. We've been getting two. Alright. There's our two. John 16:23, Matthew 7:7, and on the bottom, Matthew 25:21. And then for our action cards, I like to use these like basic oracle action cards because it gives us a really nice overview for an action, and it's something that you can I feel like it's sustainable. I feel like that we can hear these action words, and we might then be inclined to just lean into that and sort of explore that in our mind and see how we can take action rather than overwhelming ourselves with actions that we're not really quite ready to take yet. So we can just the reading I just did was leaning into sacred, and we really covered a lot of good things you can do to lean into sacred in different ways. So that's kind of the reason we use these. That's our first action card, imagination. Second action card is letting go. Let me see, I don't know if we can, yeah, I'm going to put a little bit up. Okay, all right, now you can see the whole spread. It's kind of big, kind of wide. All right. in our culture section, we have a lot of women here, and there is some strong divine feminine coming through this reading as well. It's been really, and when you say divine feminine, so this can be a masculine person who is simply very emotionally well developed, who is a caring and nurturing person, and we'll go more into the detail about that as we go through the reading. But in culture at this time, because these readings seem to be at this time in culture and at this time in our faith, and we're going to talk about a couple of ways to apply these cards, and then look at these cards, and then we'll do some scripture cards. We have right now, and I think this is just really hard hitting. The meaning of this card is things that you've only dreamed are beginning to manifest themselves into reality. So things that we've only ever dreamed about in the past are starting to really come forward in daily life in a way that is a bit jolting, depending on how old you are. But I think the applications thereof is a bit jolting for everybody, no matter how old you are, because the younger people do realize the dangers of what we see manifesting itself into reality, and they think about a lot of dangers that maybe we're not even processing, so their level of danger with it's a little higher than your older person who has, I think, more simple fears about it. One of the cards that we got in this, we got the six of cups. This was at the bottom of the deck, and then this is now at the bottom of the deck. We're going to look at that card too. So, our Six of Cups, this is to lean into your memories, your past, like who you used to be, reflect on those things, reflect on who you are and what makes you happy. And if possible, you might want to lean on other people or connect to other people to look at what it is that makes you happy or who you were at a past time, something that made you really happy. You want to lean into those things with the Six of Cups to find what's going to make you happy right now. And then our second card that came out is the Two of Cups, which is that your twin soul is near you, and that there's someone that you have true affinity with that is near you that's going to come into your life. This is somebody that is not necessarily romantic. It's not necessarily anything. It could be a mentor. It could be someone that you just really click with at a new job. It could be anything. But this is somebody that is like a soul twin, somebody that you have a lot in common with. And this is that you've got this person, a friend near. And then we have this to kind of look into your past to see like who you really are and what makes you happy. So there's that leaning into friends to look into what who you actually are and what makes you happy. And that is in response to our things becoming a reality in the Ace of Disc here. And you're lean into that friend, some soul friend that is some soul um, twin that is nearby, and that's going to help you deal with some of the things that are so new and some of the things that we in our past never dreamed. We only ever dreamed of the things that are happening right now, and that has unseated us. So this card is saying go back to that same past where you couldn't dream of the things that are being created now, and find who you really are as a person and what makes you happy. And then that's going to help you to maintain your equilibrium and balance during this time of such newness. And then now under the deck, we have the Four of Swords. And so this is quiet your mind and rest. Don't take any further actions right this second. Protect your mental and your physical health. So, this card with the Two of Cups, this twin soul is going to be coming to you to help you do that, to quiet your mind and rest, to help you gain a balance, a new balance, to help you, laugh and smile and remember things, and to help you be able to buoy yourself during this time of change. That in culture right now, people are beginning to, and this is just something that I encountered in one of the last readings I did, that in culture right now, people, that a certain collective is beginning to come together. They're beginning to sort of just gravitate together at this time. And they're gravitating together for specific reasons, for the intentions of the divine at this specific moment. And you are to look for this twin soul, soul twin, that shares things with you to help you to relax, to take the time to protect your mental and physical health, and to take the time to have joy, to raise your vibration, to laugh and dance and smile and feel good and be happy, and use that as a way to balance all of this new things that are coming manifest at this time. And there's a lot of newness that's coming with the newness, and I'm not sure if that I think that is involved here. Um, so we have the new technology, but then we worry about elements of that of its own accord, but we have new things that are then happening because of the new technology. And there's a lot, of course, many, many applications of that statement, but it has changed in a significant way the way that you do a lot of things. So that's a lot to take in at one time. And this particular spread right here for culture, this is a nine, because I did the numerology, and so this is a nine, which is the ending of a cycle. It's the ending of a period of time. When I did this one with the numerology, it is a 10. It is the next step beginning at the ending of the cycle. So there's a message also in that, in the movement from this is happening in culture to this happening within our faith tradition. And this can involve, I kind of think, more than one faith tradition, more than one groups of people who have beliefs one way or the other. And it could also involve like cultural traditions, so secular traditions of parties, of things that are like really considered with, I think, religious affinity. It can involve a lot of things that are in tradition right now, but there's one thing that particularly that I will be underlining because of the divine feminine. There's a heavy, heavy lean here. Then we're going to point out that one thing that I'm seeing within our faith tradition. So at the beginning of our faith tradition pool, we have the King of Candles. This is in its reverse. This is King David. And from 2 Samuel 7:9, when God was with him, this card represents something totally different with the wisdom and good leadership and thoughtfulness. But with it reversed, we have a person that is misusing power or controlling others oppressively. We have hasty decisions with this leader with any leader, that's not thoroughly considering what they're doing. They're just making hasty decisions and doing things that are not working out for the community that they lead. They dominate discussions, any kind of decisions. If anybody else has another contribution, they just stifle that. They don't want to hear it. They're not letting anybody else talk. And then they don't deliver on the commitments they've made. They don't realize the potential that they've said that is there. They don't do anything to begin getting that potential. And this leader, whoever this is, which is the King of Candles reverse, is prone to excesses, misuse of power, failure to live up to their ideals, failure to live up to what they say it is that they stand for. They fail to do that. Arrogance, impulsiveness, a tendency to dominate others rather than to inspire them to something better. This is the first card in what is happening within our faith tradition at the current time. When you have a whole lot of people who hear a personality, a leader, someone who's well known, say that there's no place for empathy, no reason for empathy. We shouldn't teach our children that. And then he's hailed later as a martyr when something happens to him. I think that we can see that something is amiss, that something is upside down, with this failure to live up to our ideals in our faith, with failure to live up to the words of Jesus that we will look at and consider today. When there's an absolute break and we see the break and we do not understand why there's a break happening, but there is one. So we are seeing this. We collectively are seeing this today. I mean, we can either do apologetics for it or we can disagree with it, I mean, quietly or vigorously or whatever, but we're definitely seeing this happening today. And so the next card that I pulled out was my the five of grains. She said to herself, if I only touch his cloak, I will be healed. And this is about her faith, making her well. It's my reach out and touch faith card. So there's a need for that faith tradition, all of them, to be willing to lean into your faith in what you believe and what you were taught when you were raised, when you were growing up. And that can be in any, like I said, in any way. What were the people that you listened to when you were young? What did they say? How are you raised? What did your grandmother tell you to do? What did your grandmother do? Um, you know, what do we really believe? Like, because I've watched things really like change in, I think, anybody that's a little older and not even that much older, because my kids see it too, change in a significant way where there are significant pieces of theology that somehow it was one way when I was a teenager and when I was, in GAs and when I was learning things, when I was memorizing Bible verses, when I was doing those things, somehow the rules are now different. Somehow the meanings of things are different. They've been changed. And then there's things appearing that they aren't consistent with what Jesus' words are, and that's very confusing. And I don't really understand how any of those rules change because God is the same today, yesterday, today, and forever. So none of the significant rules of love in the gospel should have changed at all. There is no reason for that, but we are seeing that happen, and that there's a call for us, the collective, to find some belief that is strong within you, within yourself. And this is not a call to abandon anything, because I didn't say that. Find something within you. Find your way of worship at home. Find your meditative time. Find your time where you listen to the still small voice and find your belief within you. Look at who you were raised to be, and what makes you happy, and find your belief again and your relationship to God again, whatever age you have to go back to. That's what we're being asked to do. And then with the appearance of this card right here, the Queen of Grains. So this was under the deck. And this really says strongly to me that this speaks about one particular thing that I've been seeing rather widely, and it's another one of those, we're like going the wrong way, like it's backwards. For many ways, theologically too. I mean, I can, address that. But for years and years, when I was a child, we have had Queen of Grains. We have had Queen of Grains taking care of our church, running our churches, running programs, being music directors, being accompanists, being all kinds of things. Some churches have had women preaching for years and years. No big deal. They're good preachers sometimes. They're good homily writers, however you call it. Um, they can definitely be helpful, right? This Queen of Grains is the Proverbs 31 woman. And this is a card, these women who are the women we're talking about, these queens who I'm talking about, and they have been queens forever. Their husbands would come to church when I was growing up. Your husbands would come to church like on Easter, on Christmas, whatever. But when it came to running VBS, when it came to just all kinds of different jobs and things, you had to show up. You had to be on time. You did the Sunday school class. the commitment, the dedication, that came from these women who were resourceful. They made the most out of all their available resources. They could figure out how to make anything out of anything. That's absolutely the case. And they didn't have to go buy a lot of stuff because they all brought the little stuff they had at their house and put it together. And then we got what we need for our 3-year-old class for Vacation Bible School. They provided care and support. They ensured the well being of others. They handled the pastoral care stuff. Um, they have created for years a secure and stable environment in which we have worshiped. Many of us across America and even across the world. I haven't been in the world, so I can't tell you what are the social trends of attendance or anything like that in other countries. But here, there was this time period of that where the women sort of just took over. It became a little bit harder to find preachers and priests. Less of them were going into it, but definitely there was not an ample supply of men who wanted to take part or were willing to take an every Sunday part in going to church. And so these women achieved success in keeping these churches alive across the United States through hard work and practical skills. They had knowledge and understanding that they used daily to benefit themselves and others. They made sure everybody had what they needed. They made sure nobody got left out. Nobody froze to death in their house. They made sure everybody had groceries when maybe they didn't have groceries, and those women are still doing that today. There has been there has been a trend with our traditional church in some sectors, in some denominations, in some places more than others. But there's been a trend to like suddenly bludgeon, women suddenly, no, we don't want that. No, women should not do that. And I've heard some crazy things. I heard something from the pulpit on Sunday, visiting somewhere, and it was unreasonable. It was unreasonable, and it was an attack on this Queen of Grains. It was an attack on Proverbs 31. Name no names. But that's what this person was saying, that this is wrong. That's what they said. So, and in that same church and in many other churches where there was maybe the wife of the preacher or whoever in a very small church leading the choir, or doing other important jobs, a lot of those churches, because of the recent things that have happened, and that person that says we shouldn't have empathy, and stuff like that, because of that cultural thing that's happening right now, these faith leaders in our faith traditions, particularly your conservative faith traditions, have even taken out the women that are serving as music directors or as Sunday school leaders. But they are removing women of God who have been keeping the church upright because of some bizarre movement backwards. And they are doing so by the means that they stated just now: misuse of power, tyranny, abuse of power, silencing people who might have something to say, who might have a Bible verse that says otherwise, but they're not letting them speak, and they're doing what they're doing anyway. And a lot of people are being dragged along with them. A lot of people are losing their faith altogether, and they're just not going to church anymore because they hurt their feelings and they didn't love them anyway. Obviously, uh, their service wasn't good enough, right? So this is what's happening in our faith tradition today, and with the Queen of Grains and that sermon on Sunday, also, which is just more ladies that have done this for a billion years. And then today, I was thinking about Grandma Moses, and I was thinking about how, the traditional church for years, in one way or the other, if you study church history, has used, our Bible and our tradition as a tool for things that aren't right. They've used it as a tool for patriarchy. They've used it as a tool for this and that, as the desire came upon them to have their way. Um, but also Grandma Moses. So this tradition goes far back, and Grandma Moses was the epitome of the non-tradition, and she used that same gospel and that same biblical text to lead a revolution and to power and inspire people into finding their own freedom. So there's the potential for both of those things to occur, and there can be contamination of any system, anything that's been set into motion. And it is time for us to have an ending to one way of doing things. This new things that we've only just dreamed of is coming about. We're going to find the people that we're meant to make the connections with in order to bolster ourselves, each other, to provide time for rest and to provide time to find out who we are and what makes us really happy, and to really to hash this thing out with people that we see eye to eye on what the biblical text should be and mean. Um, Grandma Moses, in those days I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, both men and women, slave and free alike. Well, which days, y'all, are those days? Which days are they? Which thing is important enough? And how is it that the tradition gets to stand there and tell God Himself, no, no, not now. We're not at those days yet. It's not time yet. It's not time yet. Well, it was time when Grandma Moses did it. It was time when Grandma Moses did it. Is it not time yet? Are we not seeing things that we've only dreamed and sometimes had nightmares about happen right now? Are we not there? Where when are we there? But somehow there's the belief maybe in some of our more traditional dogmatic uh, variations of our worship that believes that they can dictate to God when it is those days, but I'm afraid it does not work that way. I think I'm gonna have to take a break now or something. I don't know. So, we are to have some belief in our own hearts because people are going to be called to do different things in response to this. It's not going to be the same response for everybody. Some people likely will work within their own little kingdoms. It's a recent reading. Within their own little kingdoms to create newness and to root out the problem. Other people may be called to leave their kingdoms and find other kingdoms. Some people may be called to do new things altogether. Different things are going to happen. But this is the deal. This is a one, two, three, four. I do love that about this reading. One, two, three, four. Sort of. This is the steps that you do. So whatsoever you shall ask the Father in my name, He will give it to you. John 16:23. You were to ask the Father to help you to see, make sure you don't miss this soul twin or any soul twin that you might be meant to connect with. The Father, your gods, your angels, however you connect with the divine, you want to ask for that which you need, because you have to ask, because that's the first instructions. It's step one. Ask for belief. Ask, help me to find the way. What is the way that I can feel your presence? What is the thing that's going to work for me? Ask. And then pay attention and see, does something appear in your life that helps you connect with the divine, that you might find that healing through your belief and strength, of that your strength may be filled, because during this time, if someone is called to leave where they're at, they may not feel like they're getting what they need spiritually for strength. So we want to ask for the replacement, especially if you find that you must leave the place that you're at right now, or if you feel called to do that. um, One of our cards of action actually is letting go. So I'll go ahead and cover that now. That is one of the action cards. Unconditional acceptance, forgiveness, and letting go are essential to unleashing the infinite power of self love. It is my nature to let go in autumn and be born anew in spring. So it's essential to let go of what no longer serves us, or what may be too broken to fix, bring in something new so that we can have something that does that job for us, right? So it's essential, if your toaster is broken, if you need a toaster, that you throw that one away, you let go of the old toaster so you can get a new toaster, so that it can make toast for you. Like, that's the whole point, and that's the point with things in our social life too. Why keep it if it's broken and it's not working? So that's something for us to consider, with this reading, that letting go might be a thing. And then imagination, and it's also telling me, in order to succeed, I am stuttering today. I must imagine myself healthy or as someone who has already overcome a challenge. I picture a successful resolution in my mind and then observe its appearance in my life. I think this card, imagination, is that we really cannot conceive of what everything's going to look like in the future. And that this whole things happen that we've only dreamed of, we're having trouble using our imagination to understand what the new way that we're being called to is, or to understand what is our place in it, because sometimes you just kind of feel lost, like, well, what, because we can't imagine what's coming next all the time. Um, so so we do have to allow the letting go and try to use our imagination. And also, with we've been told here that we need to allow other people to help us remember who we are and to find happiness. And the happiness card was also with our nature oracle cards for action. So we're to be finding happiness and taking this rest time to rest and reflect, to laugh. It's kind of like this. If you think of it like this, there's a balance of it. So if you're working through a problem, when you give yourself time to take a nap, or to listen to music and dance, or to talk to a friend and laugh, or to do something different, and or even to watch a movie, or watch a comedy, whatever makes you happy, or whatever makes you feel good and better, whatever helps to kind of lift your spirits up. That downtime for your mind allows some processing to go on that's not happening when you're in thinking about it. You know, sometimes you get stuck in a loop. So this is calling you the letting go. Maybe you have to let go of this consideration, for a set amount of time every day, so that you can have that time of quiet to kind of rejuvenate yourself, a time of reflection, which is also this card. We just keep having repeats here, but reflection and this time of taking self care, your mental and physical health, stopping and reflecting, allowing for a little bit of just quality good time, whatever it may be. Something you watch with your grandmother. Maybe you're watching Golden Girls or something, just for the fun of it, because it makes you laugh, or Sanford and Son, or something crazy like that. Or maybe you love watching Father Brown. Whatever that makes you just feel warm and safe and comfortable, and let your mind rest from these things. Ask and assume that it's done, and then begin to look for it. And at the same time, allow yourself this time. And that is your step one, is to ask, and this friend will be provided. This person or this beginning of a group is going to be provided. Ask, and you're going to find the way that you can express your belief in the 3D, whether you're at home or you're worshiping. Seek, he says, and you will find. So if you ask, if you seek it, you're going to find it. Be looking for it. We already said that. And then, boom, you're done. You did step one. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. So it was like a video game almost. It's like, okay, so you're going to do this and do this. And then step one is done. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. And then we have underneath that, I'm with you always, even into the end of the world, Matthew 28:20. And, I don't really take this as apocalyptic. I take this as the 10 that just ended, even to the end of the way we're doing things now, the end of this cycle, and to the end of us and the beginning of the new. So the end and then the beginning of the new cycle moving forward. I am with you always, even to the end of whatever you're going through right now. So if people are listening to this in a spaceship, then maybe he's with you even into the end of that period. But this is, well done, thou good and faithful servant. You took the first step. You're going to take the first step by asking to find that soul twin, whatever kind he desires for you to have right now, whether it's a mentor, or if it's a love partner, or if it's just a best friend, or whatever it is. It could be just a person that if you did not run into or talk to or converse with right now, you would maybe suffer some harm. I think the intent of this is for groups of like minded people of affinity to come together. But it can also be that you need, that this is a necessary, and it could be a necessary meeting for many people. That could be across the board. He is with us through this. Do your first step. Ask for the belief, ask for the way that you are to bolster your own belief in the divine, that you are to feel the presence of the divine no matter where you are or how you access it. And look for that. Ask for the soul's twin. Let go of those things that no longer serve you. Look back into your past and find out who you are for the happiness. Reflect during this time when you rest. Thank you, women. Thank you, women who have spent ages and ages taking all of us, all the children in church, all three children every Sunday, over and over and over again, volunteering for everything that needed to be done. Thank you, women, for your service to our Lord, which is welcomed. And maybe with this 9 and 10 reading, maybe, hey, maybe because this is the end and we're doing a new beginning here, we're beginning a new thing, and it's belief in your own heart that we're seeking. Maybe it's those days. Maybe we're rolling over into those days. What y'all reckon? Maybe we're doing that. Maybe it's time now. That would be my vote. I don't know about the rest of everybody. That would be my vote. So I'm gonna just stop banging on that for too long at one time. We're gonna do scripture cards. Just very quickly pull a couple of scripture cards and see any other messages that we might want to know. This was a great reading. Oh, too many messages. Too many. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. James 4:10. I think that these women have humbled themselves in the sight of the Lord for all this time, and that the Lord requires them to be lifted up. That the Lord requires His will be done in that situation and all other ones. Trust in the Lord and do good. You'll be fed. You'll be allowed to dwell in your land, and you'll be fed. Psalm 37:3. Whatever you ask the Father in my name, I will give it to you. Also, I'm putting pieces together here. This is, if you look at the little boy, this is a little bitty boy, and I think the message here is that this goes back to raising our little boys and our little girls. We have here in the Queen of Grains, we've got a little bitty girl. This goes back to raising those little bitty boys and girls. And the reason we're being called to look into our past is to look back into how we were raised and start from scratch with our little boys and girls to fix this situation overall, and to trust in the Lord and do good, so you'll be able to, thou shalt dwell in the land, and verily you'll be fed. Seek and you will find. We're going to be fed. So what did I say? Trust in the Lord and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. You're going to be shown what it is you're supposed to do for your belief to be bolstered in finding the divine within, around, and about you, rather than having to depend on those that you may not be able to depend on during this time of change. Blessed are they which are persecuted for the righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. Also very applicable, because in this misuse of power, in this not allowing people to speak, not just rolling over people, bullying people, maybe a few agree with this one far out thing, and the whole rest of the congregation's kind of being drugged behind it and not saying anything. But blessed are they that are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. So happiness, in thy presence is the fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. And it doesn't say only boys can be at my right hand. It doesn't say that only boys can have pleasures forevermore. It does not say that only boys can experience his presence and the fullness of joy. Psalm 16:11. Whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall ask. Whosoever shall ask will be saved. Acts 2:21. Seeking you will find that which you need to deal with this situation. Honestly, that's a big bear right there to fight. I mean, I don't, it kind of makes me feel a certain way, because, tradition, and then leaders who have become corrupt and are leading badly, and it being allowed by and egged on in some ways by your higher up leaders in those traditions. That's a big bear. It's a big bear. And we need to ask for help. We need to ask for help. As long as we ask for help, we've done step one, and he's going to say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. You've done the right thing here." For culture, for tradition, for yourself, for your belief, you've done the right thing in developing a relationship with the divine within your heart, within your own space, your own time, where sure, go to church whenever you want to go to church and go wherever you want to, and be so free that you feel like you can go out there and you can go out there and feel uh, ask God for guidance with that as well. But indeed, feel free to seek him wherever you are. Maybe seek him in other places with a referral where you know it's okay. I don't want anybody to end up somewhere unsafe, but and that's sad to say, but it's true. Um, I may cut that out later. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of tired. So this has been wonderful, a wonderful reading. It's been pretty straightforward. It's really complicated. It's one of those biblical readings, right? It's not easy, but it's pretty straightforward. Um, there's going to be some letting go happening in our world. And part of it is just simply, again, ending a cycle. I mean, I don't think anybody can look at the technological progress we're making and not admit that we're in a culturally with a 10 rolling in. We are there culturally. And we are there with looking at letting go of many ways that we do things, many ways that we make our money, many ways that we've existed before. We're having to look at new ways of doing that. We're having to figure out how to imagine that. And part of that is going to be a reimagining of the way that we worship. Part of that is going to be a reunion of souls that have an affinity for one another and a calling back home of those who realize that they are astray. Part of that is going to be imagining a new way and reflecting and not jumping into things. This is like, do not take any more forward action, or do not take, you got to rest first and reflect first before you take any action. So that's definitely not go quit today. It doesn't mean that. It means just to step back and take rest time. Make sure you're doing the first things first, which is taking care of your physical and your mental health. If you're in a place where your mental health is suffering, then you likely do need to go ahead and let that go. But if you're not, but you should put those two things first right now and find your soul twin that is going to help you make things a little easier for yourself and make you feel more comfortable and more safe in your own skin. I'm gonna go, guys. I'm just gonna go. That's because I think that's really expansive and good. I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this, if you like this content, and you know other people that might like this content too, please feel free to share it. Like, subscribe. Yeah, come back and see me again. We'll do another. I'm not sure what I'm doing next because I did a couple today, so I'm not sure exactly what's coming next. But thanks so much for being here with me. I love doing this process. I think it's really helpful for all of us to kind of work through some complexities that are happening right now. You guys have a good day tomorrow and see you next time. Bye. All right, here I come again because I forgot this part. Our position. I kind of wanted to just clarify because I meant to do that, the position. I meant to do it also a different way and I just forgot. So, our position, when we have asking, it shall be given unto you, seeking, you shall find. Well done, good and faithful servant. Our position, as people who believe in a divine Father, in the Most High God, a divine being who brought all this into existence, a divine order where things do balance out. We believe they do come out right. We believe that we can actually access God ourselves and ask. We believe that if we seek, we will find it. We believe if we seek God, we will find Him. We believe if we ask, it will be given to us. We believe that if we have done well, then we will hear it, well done, good and faithful servant. Those are our positions in that. So those are very applicable here as well. If we It was that call to believe, that call to reach out and touch faith. The call, I don't have the cards on anymore, I put them up, but it was right there, to believe. This is our position, that we do believe in an interventionist God. This is our position also. and with the actions that we are going to take, being letting go of what no longer serves us, using our imagination the best way we can, reflecting on who we really are and what's going to bring us happiness. And in our beliefs, our position is that this God will respond to us, that our interventionist God will be that and will respond to us. Okay, I'm out.